Well, hello. How are you doing? This is the S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Says podcast, also known as S. Anthony Says, episode number 390. Oh yeah. How are you doing, you bastards? Folks, let's just jump right into this, okay? I really don't care anything about Will and Jada and who they're banging, okay? I don't care. Right now, I know what you're saying. So let me ask you a question, Miss Anthony. Do you find Jada attractive? Yes, I do. Right? I remember when she was in that movie with Keenan Ivory Wayans. It's called The Low Down Dirty Shame. And she was walking up the steps in this pink dress, and they zoomed in on her. And I was like, ooh, okay. And I feel guilty about that, sitting there drooling over and objectifying that, moving on. But everybody's going and getting into an uproar over what two people they don't know are doing in the bedroom or in their relationship. And I don't really care that much. But it's been shoved down my throat so many times and from so many ways that I started to care. And all of a sudden you become curious about something you normally wouldn't even give a crap about, right? Apparently, according to them, they had a separation, and during their separation, she and a family friend who was a young guy, and he and her, boom, boom, jiggy, boom, da boom, jiggy, boom, boom, jiggy, boom, da boom, jiggy. And for those of you that are listening to my podcast, you know the boom, boom, jiggy, boom, da boom, jiggy, boom, boom, jiggy, boom, da boom, jiggy means sex, right? So apparently that young guy was climbing all up on top of Jada and giving her that good business, right? And he caught feelings, and he didn't realize that she was a married woman. She had committed to this guy, meaning her husband, and that even though he was giving her that good business, she was probably never going to really run away with him, right? And she got back with her husband, and then he got all weirded out about it, and then he had to go, right? Like, the thing young guys don't understand is when you find a really, really attractive older woman, whether she's married or not. In my case, I found an extremely attractive older woman. Now, the woman to me at the time, I was 18 years old. She was like 28, 29 years old. Now, to her, she saw something she liked on stage. That would be me. And she saw some chocolate she wanted a slice of. Once again, me. And she said, he's hilarious and I want some of that. And she came up to me and she came on to me and she made it really clear she wanted a slice of me, right? She wanted a big slice of this cake right here. You know what I'm saying? Right? And being the kind of guy I am, I decided I was willing and able, because I like to give back to the community. I was going to give back to the community by going home with her and giving her several slices of me. If you understand what I'm saying. She wanted the big slice of the cake and I filled her plate up. You know what I'm saying? Moving on, right? But to her, she's a woman who's approaching 30, super duper hot, gorgeous, incredible body. The kind of woman that if Instagram existed back then, she would just take random pictures of herself and in about 6 weeks, she'd have 4 million followers because that's how good she looked. And to me, she thought, he's cute, right? He's a cute guy. He's funny. He's smart. I'm just going to jump on top of him and enjoy all that cake, right? And, and she didn't think anything of it, but as a young guy, as an 18-year-old guy, if there's a super duper smoking hot 30-year-old woman or 28-year-old or 29, whatever the hell she was smoking hot, and every time she called the house, I would pretend like I was going to a show. And then I did go to a show. The show was called On Top of Her, Behind Her, Underneath Her. The show was called Giving her that good deep business. You know what I'm saying? Good deep business. Boom. And I gave her that good deep business, right? And then after a while, she wanted to be with someone she could actually marry and build a life with. So she said, hey, that was fun, but I don't think this is really going to work out. We were great. We had a great little fling and everything, right? And I was upset. Wait a minute. But because I was a punk back then. And she goes, you know what? Let's just have one more little fling before we go by. Then I gave her the good deep business one more time. Okay, actually 6 more times. And then she ran off into the sunset. Oh, right? Now, if I'm thinking the way I'm thinking now, I would just go, dude, you got to get it on with a woman who looks as good as Halle Berry 273 times. Enjoy. How did I remember the exact number? I mean, I just made that number up. I definitely did remember the exact number. F y'all back to me. I don't remember the exact number, but I know it is a lot. It was 273. F y'all back to me. Right? But the thing was, as I got older, when I became 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, when you're a 30-year-old man and a super duper smoking hot Tracy Ellis Ross looking woman who's like 45, 46 years old wants to jump on top of you and get that good deep business, she just wants the good deep business. She's doing her job. She doesn't want a relationship. She just wants you to, she also wants to call you up. You go over to her house. You give her that good deep business, right? You take her to boom, boom, jiggy, boom, da boom, jiggy, jiggy, right? And then when she goes off into the sunset, she goes, well, you know, it was great being together, but I'm really going to move off to Paris and I have to do my show in Paris and have do my work in Paris, and I'm not coming back, and it was great being with you. And you're going right now at this point at 30, you have to act sad. Oh, really? Oh, really going to miss you. It's really good. Gave her the good deep business again 145 times. And then she goes off to Paris and blah, and everything's great. Now you're disappointed that she's gone, but you're not heartbroken. You knew what the deal was. You're 30 now. You're an adult. You're a more mature man, and you realize she just wants to jump on top of me. And guess what? I'm going to let it happen. But back to the Will and Jada thing. He should have known. Right? He was the toy off to the side. She enjoyed his company, but come on, man. You know, you're not a bad looking dude. You got your career going, right? There's nothing wrong with the age difference. If somebody's older and you're younger and everything's cool, fantastic. But you had to know going into that relationship what the heck it was, right? I mean, let's be honest. If I was 30 years old and a woman who looked like Jada Pinkett Smith her husband had a separation and we were going to boom, boom, jiggy, boom, da boom, I would just boom, boom, jiggy, boom, da boom, jiggy, boom, boom, jiggy, boom, as much as possible, right? And if it turned into something great, if it didn't turn into something, I would look at that gorgeous woman and go, man, it was fun, boom, boom, jiggy, boom, da boom, jiggy, with her. But it didn't work out. All right, I guess, the 416 times we would have done it would have been great. The last number was fake because obviously I did not have any sex with her. But for the record, I just want to let everybody know if there's any Hollywood celebrities who have open marriages and don't want to leave their spouse because they have a business relationship. They still love each other, but they're living separate lives. I just want to let it be known that I'm 51. Just for no particular reason, I'm putting this out there. No particular reason. I do not have ED at all. Everything works as good as new. It's like, let's just say that you have a car that's been around for a while, had a whole lot of long, deep road trips, but still runs like new. Like, I'll just put that out there. I'm just going to say that certain vehicles, even though they've been ridden hard and deep for a long period of time and been in many, many garages, it still looks like a new vehicle and runs like a new vehicle. No defects. All the tires nice and fresh, look like it's been armor all, and still give you a good deep ride, and all the good gas mileage, and the damn sure take you where you need to go like a mother jumper. Woo! You know what I'm saying? Woo! Just for no particular reason, I'm just going to say that I've never had anything but clean blood tests my entire time. I've never had any kind of STDs or anything like that. And I just want to once again illustrate that even though the vehicle has miles on it, it still runs like new and looks like new and can still give you a good, deep, long ride from point A to point B. Yeah, point B. Yeah, I'll put the point that you moving on. So let's leave that alone and get back to what I really wanted to talk about. I tweeted before I did this episode, I tweeted that there's a lot of times when and I'm changing the subject because I embarrassed myself for about 9.5 minutes. F y'all, moving on. There's times in your life, and I'm going to get more serious here. There's times in your life when you have something you want to do and the people around you don't support the things you're doing. It's amazing how people don't know how the little things they do can suck the juice out of your battery, right? I've seen people succeed in life at the highest possible levels, and they have a spouse that supports the crap out of them. I've seen guys in my business who did stand-up comedy who were good. They weren't that great, but they were good. They were somebody that you would book, but their husband or their wife legitimately thought that their spouse was the funniest human being walking on the face of the planet, laughed at the jokes for real. And I was around them long enough to know what their real laugh looked like. And they legitimately loved their spouse's act. Couldn't get enough of it, right? Even when they were setting up their equipment, they knew how to set up the equipment. And if they didn't set up the equipment, at the very least, they'd come into the show. They could be having a conversation outside, but when their spouse or their girlfriend or boyfriend was being introduced, they go, okay, I gotta go. I want to watch him or her. And they'd come into the room and they were the biggest fan of that person. Now, I'm not saying you got to go that far, because I've also seen people who, and once again, my business, using it as an example, love their spouse's act, went to every show, would pop in, laugh at some bits, and give them like the list thumbs up, and then walk back out and finish the conversation, and then come back at the end of the act to watch it. And that's fine. At least the person knows that their spouse respects and loves and enjoys what they do. But I've seen the other side too. I've seen people where their spouse are like annoyed. Keep in mind, the jokes are what is paying for the car. The jokes are what's paying for the house. The joke is what's paying for everything. But the spouse is annoyed, right? The spouse is always big up in every other person that does comedy, but not them. Can't say anything nice about them. Always got little snide comments about them. Not the kind of snide comments that you normally get from a comedy spouse, because they begin to pick up on the sense of humor and realize that when comics are around each other, they playfully jab each other. And comics, especially if you're comics that love each other and respect each other and are friends, you know what it's like with when your comic takes a nice little slice at you. It's fun. You laugh. It's good natured, but you can also tell when the comment isn't. Because comics, I'm just going to do the cadence. I'm not going to do the words. Hey man, yeah man, yeah, well I guess you'll flap the flop. Oh, come on, man. Remember that time? Oh, yeah. Well, how about you begin? Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah, man. Remember that time we was doing that show and we were up there and then yeah. Well, you two guys, yeah. Then the spouse comes in. Yeah, well, Bill's a real stiff-effer. And everybody's looking like, yeah, we were teasing people. It was all about fun. You got a little too serious with that there. You cut a little deep there. When we, it's like when you're sparring with someone, right? And if you're in martial arts, there's always like you spar with people, right? And there's always that one person that comes in and goes a little too hard in the gym, and everyone's looking around like, dude, we're all students in the same gym, bro. Save those moves for, an opponent in a tournament or something. What the hell are you doing? Right? People close to you don't even understand sometimes the amount of damage they can do to you. I've been there before, and like I said, in my business, when I did some shows, doing a lot of shows, I'm literally getting applause breaks, standing ovations. People were peeling the labels off their beer bottle for me to sign them, right? And this is before anybody knew who I was. Like now. F y'all back to me, right? And everybody's, oh, you're the greatest, the best, you should be on TV, you're a genius. Wonderful things. But you get in the car with your significant other, and all of a sudden you're flying high because 500-600 people in the room are like, you the greatest, the best, and great. All the cops, oh, you great, we love seeing you, man. And the person next to you, who's supposed to be the one that's the closest to you, should be patting you on the leg. That was a great job, honey. That's all you need. You don't need any more than that. They don't have to keep talking about the show. You have to get, but of course you get in the car. Oh man, that was a great show, right? Yeah. And the mood of the car actually just drops down, right? Right? You turn on your car, right? You turn on the radio and Okay, this next song is about a guy who's in the car with a woman who drags his ass down and is a complete bum out. Someone who's got a lot of compliments for everybody else, even people that ain't crap. But for some reason, she's got a guy next to her who actually has special abilities according to every freaking audience member and all the other practitioners of his art form. But somehow she thinks he blows. And it goes a little something like this. Hit it. Yeah, he ain't nothing. Yeah, even though he's something, he ain't nothing. Even though he's something, he ain't. She's dancing to the song. Yeah, he really ain't nothing, even though he's something. You're like, what the hell? This song isn't even real. It's just an idea that he's using for his podcast to make his point. Moving on. People don't realize how much effect they actually have on you. You know, a lot of times you grow up in a household where, you know, maybe you're thought of it, you're the forgotten child. Maybe you're the middle child. There's a first child, there's a baby, and you seem to be forgotten. Maybe you're the baby and you're forgotten because there's so many other kids that came before you. Maybe you're the first child and you're expected to be parent 2.A, right? You're parent 2.1. They got the mother, the father, and then your punk ass has to do a lot of the things, even though there's two punk ass parents that should be leaving you alone and letting you be a kid and not the your punk ass siblings. They're punk asses. I'm not talking about me. F y'all, moving on. But you know what I mean? Sometimes the people closest to you don't understand the effect that they have. You see someone who's actually an adult, a grown person. This guy could be 60 years old and have a 90-year-old parent or an 85-year-old parent, and he's or she's the captain of industry, tearing the world up, on the cover of every magazine, ripping the world down, right? Got a B in front of their salary. They were a billionaire, maybe a millionaire, or maybe just someone who's a very well-paid practitioner of a really highly functioning, very important art form. You could be a heart surgeon, a top lawyer, someone who owns a bunch of businesses, the envy of everybody else, and you somehow think that's going to be enough for the parent, but the parent always has something negative to say. They can't give you a compliment. They always complain, always find something wrong. And they'll see someone who's a practitioner of a similar art form, or someone who has a similar business, maybe another doctor who's actually rated 10 below you, but they talk about how great that guy is. Right? You're a lawyer and there's a lawyer that's ranked 55 below you, and she's going, well, honey, that's great. You know, it's great that you're a lawyer, but you know, I mean, but you haven't found a husband yet. Maybe you should, maybe you should stop that law stuff and find a husband. Maybe you own a business and it's going really well. Right? You're having a little bit of a tough time. Nothing serious. Nothing that makes you think you're going to lose the business, but you have to do a little restructuring. You have to do a little this, a little of that to get things going. Instead of going, you know what, honey, you have 16 franchises now. You know what you're doing. I know you're having a little bit of a tough time right now, but you'll figure it. I believe in you. Oh no, they can't say that crap. They're going, maybe you should just sell them and go back to selling widgets. It's safer that way. And looking from the outside at the person that's dealing with that garbage, you're thinking nothing's going to bother that person. They seem like a strong human being. They got their stuff together. They're tearing the world up. There's no way some words from their parents, some words from their significant other, some words from their close friends can knock them down a peg and make them feel horrible. There's no way that what happened to them during the course of their childhood. They're 42 years old now, married with their own children, and they're having a happy life. But you've seen those people. You've seen a person that's happy-go-lucky. You haven't really spent a lot of time with their family. And their family, I've been there before I've been with a girl and we were having a great time. She's one of those laughy, ha 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 ha, all the time people, right? And then when the phone rang and I'd pick, hey, what's going on? Hey, yeah, can I speak to Cindy? And I'd say, hey, Cindy, it's, obviously that's not really her name. Hey, Cindy, yeah, your parents on the phone. And the same person who was just laughing and joking a couple of seconds ago, you can watch her face go, oh, because she knows that phone, when it's put to her ear, will become like a syringe full of poison. Not enough poison to kill you. It's kind of like when you have food poisoning. A lot of times when you have an upset stomach or you have the craps or something like that, you really have food poisoning, but it's a mild form of food poisoning. Not enough to make you really sick. Not enough to put you into the hospital. Obviously nothing even remotely close to life-threatening, but it will sit you on the toilet. It will make your day a little less enjoyable because you got that in your stomach. And that's what that phone becomes when you're handed the phone. All of a sudden, it's not a phone anymore. It's a syringe full of a mild poison of negativity. You were laughing and joking, right? You were watching a movie, right? You're standing there. You wearing your love outfit. You got your male sexy drawers that she likes to watch. She likes the way your hee-hoo-hoo looks in those. And you're like, yeah, I'm gonna wear these hee-hoo-hoo showing shorts so she can see the hoo-hoo-ha-ha-ha, cause she about to get the hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And I want her to watch my, oh yeah, in these jeans, oh yeah. And she's looking at my hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo, and she's thinking, I'm about to get me some of that hoo-hoo-hoo-ha-ha. And I hand her the phone and she looks at me, right? And this particular scenario, I say, oh, it's for you. She didn't know that her parents were on the phone, right? And she's on the phone. She's looking at me, licking her lips, talking about, and I did not gonna say what she said, but the phone was on mute. And if it wasn't on mute, it would have been really embarrassing. But it involved stuff she wanted to do to my genitals. Good times. Anyway. And then she realizes it's her family on the phone, and they start talking, and she's smiling, looking at me. Her face just starts to droop, right? And then you can hear her on the phone. Oh God! Your father. Bye. Click. And she walks out the room. And when she walks out the room, she normally floats. One of the things you notice about her the first time you saw her, not was the fact that she had a spectacular, scrumptious buttocks, and she did. And then, right? But it was the way she walked. She floated. Right, especially when I was around. She always floated, but she really floated when I was around. Right, she always just sailed into the room. It was almost like she wasn't even touching the floor when she was walking towards me. She'd have that nice, beautiful smile on her gorgeous face, and she'd float her chocolatey goodness over to me, and I'd take it and pick her up and get you and I'd pick her up, yeah, girl, we going to, and I'd put her in the bed and you boom, boom, a whole quadruple album of I mean, let's be honest. I'm Miss Anthony, right? But now all of a sudden she's walking around looking like Fred Flintstone, wearing a damn weight vest, like a. They sucked all the angel juice out of my woman in a 5-minute conversation, right? And normally, as a young man, you're thinking, damn, I'm not going to get none. And I didn't think that, at least not at first. At first it was like, oh, and they made her feel bad. I can't stand when I forgot how bad they make her feel. That's why she almost never answered the phone. When she answered the phone every once in a while when they're there and she says she's busy and all of that kind of crap. But I got so used to it, I forgot about that. And they just sucked the angel juice out of her. She's walking around like an old dude. And she's a gorgeous young fit woman. And I was so bummed out and so mad at her parents. Still had a boner, but that's nothing I could do about that. I'm Miss Anthony, right? But I didn't like the way they made her feel. And I put the pillow in my lap because I didn't want her to be mad at me going, I'm sad and all of that still sticking up. Not that happened several times before. Don't judge me. F y'all, back to what I was saying. And I put the pillow on my lap. I actually put 2 pillows like a tent. I just wanted to make sure she could. Why you got the tent into your lap? Definitely not a boner. Not that. Don't judge me. F y'all, back to the story. So she comes, sits down next to me, and she tells me what they said. And all of it was just stupid, passive aggressive crap that didn't even need to be said, things that didn't need to be commented on, things from the past that have been resolved and didn't need to be brought up. And I looked at her and I said, listen, I understand how you feel. It's not the same thing, as far as parents are concerned. I've had people in my life that made me feel the way that your parents made you feel just now. But you have to understand that you're an amazing human being. And I know you're used to them saying these things, but I want to let you know right now, the negative things that you said, that they said about you, are not true. A person's opinion of you is not equal to the actuality. What someone says about you doesn't necessarily mean it's a true thing. I know you well enough now to know that all of that crap they said was bull crap. And I'm sorry that you feel bad. But just remember, they're there, and you're here with me. And I think you're awesome. And that's what I said. She goes, thank you. She gives me a kiss on the forehead. She goes, are you thirsty? I go, yeah. And she gets up to go to the refrigerator to get some juice. And she floated. And I was like, great. I felt bad that I made her feel better. And as she floated back towards me, I pushed the pillows on the floor and she goes, whoa, okay, I forgot about that. And I went, I didn't. And then I picked her up, took her back into the bedroom. And let's just say, when I gave her you know how when I said the phone went from a phone to a syringe full of poison. Well, now I picked up and put her in the room and I gave her, another, never mind. Let's just say, she did not think about her parents for the next 90 minutes or so. And then there was another break. And then for another 90 minutes, she did not think of her parents. And then there was another break and she didn't think about her parents for about 75 minutes. I'm Miss Anthony. But look, guys, I know there's people out there. I know they're out there. You're going to be dealing with a lot of crap like that. You're going to have people that say ridiculous things about you. They'll be passive aggressive. It could be anybody that's close to you, because the people that are closest to you know so much about you that they have all these type of weapons where they can slice you up and knock you down just with their words. But just remember, as I had to say to her at that time, and as I had to say to myself, what somebody else says about you is literally just that person's opinion. Has nothing to do specifically with you. Somebody tells you you're dumb and you know better than that. Don't even react to it. Just let them fire off their cannons. Because if they're saying you're dumb and you're not dumb, they're firing cannonballs at something so far away that the cannonball is just going to go sp and land in the dirt. Won't even come close to you. If they say you can never amount to anything, you know better than that. Once again, they're throwing eggs at a rocket ship, not even going to reach it. So, if you're ever in one of those situations where somebody's taking these cheap shots at you, just remember my voice and remember these words. Just because somebody says negative crap about you doesn't make it true. In fact, I'm pretty sure, even though I have never met you individually, I'm pretty sure that it's not true. Granted, there's going to be a small percentage of people that hear this, that when you hear those negative things from those people, the shit's true about you and you ain't shit. I should probably cut that part off because that's not helping. There's a small percentage of you out there. I'm trying to clean this shit up. There's a small percentage of you out there that they're going to say stuff about that you ain't crap, and it's not true about you either. Yeah, because the part where I said that it's true and that you ain't shit, that was a joke. Moving on. Okay, folks, this has been episode number 309 of the Yes Anthony Says podcast. I'm going to need you to do me a favor. If you like this podcast, and if you're listening to me right now, you've been listening to me for a damn half an hour, which means either you like this crap or you're a masochist. Can't be that. I'm incredible. Listen, rate and review this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're listening on iTunes or wherever you're listening, if there's a place to review the podcast, please do so. And none of that 4-star crap. I want 5 stars or I'll come through this phone and pimp slap you. I mean, 5 stars would be preferable. And if you think you know someone who would like to listen to this podcast, and who wouldn't, please feel free and do me a favor and recommend this podcast to people. And if you have not subscribed to this podcast, please do so. Also, and this podcast is everywhere. Okay. Everywhere that plays podcasts, I'm there. Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio. I'm everywhere. So do that, please. Also, I have a second podcast called The S. Anthony Thomas Show. It's on Anchor, and that's also everywhere else. So if you like this crap, you'll also like that crap, because it's some crap like this and some other good crap. And I talk to some other interesting and funny people about some crap. So that's the S. Anthony Thomas Show, also everywhere. Go and check that podcast out too. One last thing is I've looked at the analytics of the podcast, and apparently the overwhelming majority, I mean, well into the 95% of the people that listen to this podcast literally listen to every second of every podcast. And to you, I just want to say thank you very, very much. I really, really appreciate it, man. More than you know. And much love to all of you. So now, folks, I'm going to say goodbye. We'll see you next week. I'm going to say goodbye the way I always say goodbye. I want you to do it with me. You know what I'm talking about. I've been here for years. You ready? Cool. We're going to do it on 3. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. S. Anthony out.
Smile. Go ahead and giggle. We're gonna get wild. Go ahead and clap. Go ahead and cheer. We're gonna have a good time while up in here.